Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
All right, today we're pulling back the curtain on a really powerful, but honestly, often overlooked VA benefit. Think of it kind of like a hidden life insurance policy for a veteran's family. So yeah, let's just dive right in. So let's just start with a really big question, right? Is there actually such a thing as free life insurance from the VA? And I'm not talking about a small amount. I mean something worth hundreds of thousands of dollars to your family. It sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? Well, the short answer is yes. And that's exactly what we're going to break down right now.
And look, when we say hundreds of thousands, we absolutely mean it. We're talking about a number like this. Based on the current rates, if you look at it over a 30-year span, this benefit could easily be worth around $850,000 to a surviving spouse. And get this, that's before you even factor in any future cost of living adjustments. It's a truly substantial, life-changing amount of money, no question.
So why is this so important? I mean, why are we even talking about it? Well, let's be real for a second. We all know that traditional life insurance gets insanely expensive as we get older, right? Getting a $500,000 policy when you're 30? Yeah, that's doable. But trying to get that same coverage when you're 60, 70, or even 80? For most people, it's just financially out of reach. So this VA benefit, it's a whole different path to that same financial security.
Okay, so what is this benefit actually called? It's got a bit of a government-sounding name, Dependency and Indemnity Compensation. But everyone just calls it DIC for short. And honestly, it works a lot like a life insurance policy, giving a steady stream of income to survivors.
So here's the official definition. DIC is a tax-free monthly payment. And you really got to focus on those two key words, tax-free and monthly. Let me say that again, tax-free and monthly. So unlike a typical life insurance policy that might just give you one big lump sum payment, this is designed to be a consistent, reliable income stream for the rest of a survivor's life. And you don't pay a dime of tax on it.
All right, so what does that monthly payment actually look like in real dollars? Let's unpack the numbers here so you can see exactly how it all adds up. Okay, so the payment is structured with a base rate, but then there are some pretty significant add-ons. You've got your base rate for a surviving spouse, which right now is $1,612.75 a month. But, and this is a big one, if the veteran was rated 100% disabled for at least 8 years before they passed away, and you were married to them during that time, boom, that's an extra $342. Then, if the surviving spouse needs help with daily activities, what the VA calls aid and attendance, that's another $399. You add all that up, and in this example, you're looking at over $2,300 a month, every single month, completely tax-free.
All right, so the money is obviously substantial, that's clear. But the big question is, how does a survivor actually qualify for this? Now, at first glance, it can seem kind of complicated, but it really just boils down to two main pathways to get there.
Okay, let's break down these two paths. Path number one is the most direct. This is when the veteran's death was caused by, or at least contributed to by, one of their service-connected disabilities. Pretty straightforward. But path two, this one is a crucial rule you have to understand. If the veteran was rated 100% permanent and total, and by the way, this includes being paid at the 100% rate through TDIU for at least 10 years before they died, then the actual cause of death doesn't matter at all. I mean they could literally get hit by a bus and the survivor would still be eligible. The whole point of this rule is that the VA recognizes that a financial dependency was built over that decade of 100% disability pay.
Okay, now we get to what I think is the most empowering, the most important part of this whole thing. What if the veteran never even filed a claim with the VA? You know? What if they never had a disability rating at all? Is all of this just lost forever?
You know, we've all probably known veterans like this. Someone who maybe just had a bad attitude about it, or they were too proud, or they just plain didn't want to deal with the government and all the paperwork, right? Well, here is the fantastic news. Even if the veteran never once engaged with the VA, their survivor can still file for and get DIC benefits.
So how on earth does that work? Well, a surviving spouse can basically file a claim on behalf of the veteran who has passed away. Let me give you a perfect example. Let's say you have a Vietnam veteran who is exposed to Agent Orange but never filed a single claim. Later in life, they developed a condition that's on the VA's presumptive list, something like hypertension or certain cancers. The spouse can then go back, gather all the evidence, the medical diagnosis, the military records that prove service in Vietnam, and show how that condition was a cause or a contributing cause on the death certificate. You put it all together and file what's called a posthumous claim. This can establish the service connection right then and there, and that's what opens the door to DIC. It's truly an incredible second chance for families.
Okay, so we've talked about the veteran side of things, but there's also the other side of the coin. The surviving spouse has to meet certain criteria too, so let's take a quick look at that fine print.
So for the marriage requirement, you only have to meet one of these three conditions. First, you could have married the veteran within 15 years of their discharge from the period of service where the injury happened. Or, second, you were married to the veteran for at least 1 year. Or, third, you had a child with the veteran. Honestly, for most people, it's that 1 year of marriage rule or the had a child together rule that are the most common ways to qualify.
Okay, this is a really big question that survivors ask all the time. What happens if I remarry? Now, the rules have changed over the years, so listen closely. Right now, you can keep your DIC benefits if you remarried on or after January 5, 2021, and you were 55 or older when you did. There's also an older rule on the books for those who remarried after December 16, 2003 at age 57 or older. So the bottom line is, remarriage later in life doesn't automatically disqualify you anymore. That's a huge deal.
Okay, so we've covered the what, the why, and the who. We know what this benefit is, why it's so valuable, and who might be eligible. So let's wrap this up with the most important part, the how. Here's your action plan for actually securing this benefit.
Now, this is absolutely crucial to understand. This is not something the veteran sets up in advance. It's not a policy you go out and buy. The entire claim process begins after the veteran has passed away. It is filed by the survivor for the survivor. It's a fundamental difference from traditional life insurance.
So, what do you actually need to file? Here are the key forms. If you're a survivor of a service member who died while still on active duty, you'll need VA Form 21P-534A. For pretty much everyone else, survivors of veterans who have already left the service, you'll use VA Form 21P-534EZ. And honestly, here's our strongest recommendation. Work with an accredited representative. We're talking about a Veteran Service Officer, a VSO. They are absolute pros who can help you navigate this whole process and make sure everything is done right.
Look, this benefit can provide real long-term financial stability, but that can only happen if you know it exists and you understand how to qualify. So we'll just leave you with this one last question to think about. Is your family prepared? It's a tough conversation, for sure, but it's one that's absolutely worth having. And this is information that's definitely worth sharing.
A special thank you to MarketUS.com for furnishing us this information. You can reach them at MarketUS.com or call them at 954-636-3232. Before we go, this deep dive was created by the MarketUS.com team. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. It's right below the subscribe link.